Why are you consistently inconsistent? Every single person that I've seen over thousands and thousands of lessons asks for the exact same thing. They want to become more consistent. Again, my name is Mike Tabbert from the Level Up Golf Academy, where we help golfers level up for pure power, precise performance. In today's video, we're going to lay the land for our next 4-week series working on a proper routine. A routine is going to establish a much better likelihood of consistency for every shot in your game. And how do we measure consistency? That's really what we want to talk about in today's video, is how do we find out where we're starting out as a baseline to measure your consistency. And truly, to measure your consistency, we need to measure your dispersion. So we're going to hit a number of shots. We're going to then measure the dispersion circle around your longest shot, your shortest shot, and your most to the left and to the right. That would give us basically your dispersion circle, and knowing that over a number of shots or a high amount of shots with a higher statistical analysis, really what's the likelihood a golf ball is going to go wayward outside the circle. We need to know how big your circle is going to be, because we need to make sure that when we pull a club that we can keep the ball in play. We can keep the ball on the green with a high likelihood of success, and we're keeping it out of trouble, such as bunkers and penalty areas. So I'm going to hit a number of shots here, and we're just going to measure my dispersion. This is my pitching wedge, and typically I would find that my pitching wedge goes about 138 yards. So when I have my marker out here at 138 yards for my target, I have TrackMan circle, and this circle is marking an outer circle ring, which is 12 yards, and that is marking for a 15 handicap dispersion circle. If I look at the 6-yard inner ring, that is for a tour player. So from about 138 yards, we would see a 15 handicap typically hit at about 36 feet offline. If you see a tour player, they're only about 18 feet offline. So it's important that we can kind of gauge, are we having a good dispersion or a bad dispersion? And we can then obviously do this for every single club. When I go through my process here, I want to be as consistent as I can. And we're going to break this down again through our next number of videos, going through our proper routine building. Okay, so when I get set up, I'm just going to try to do the same thing every time and try to see where my starting point is for my dispersion. So I'm going to get set up. I always like to do a couple waggles, look at the target again. So 2 waggles and 2 looks, and then I hit. That one felt like a really good shot. That one fell right in the bullseye. So that one felt like my true good pitching wedge. So let's see if we can repeat. Want to be more consistent. So get set up, waggle once, look, waggle twice, look, set it down, and go. Ooh, that one felt like a pull. It sure did. Okay, so I did pull it to the left. I could feel that. So again, I'm starting to get an idea of maybe what my swing feels like and why the ball flight is going offline. So we'll see if we can kind of correct it. But distance-wise was perfect. So I had the exact same at 138 yards. So I need to repeat that, but fix the pull. Get set, get comfortable, waggle once, waggle twice, look again, and hit. A little bit more to the left again. And notice anytime that you pull the shot, it tends to go a little bit farther, right? That's because the club face is turning down and you are de-lofting it. So a typical dispersion for a right-handed golfer is long left to short right. And as you can see over on the screen on the right, TrackMan has started to track my dispersion. You're seeing that the little blue circle is tracked around my 3 shots, and we can see where my typical dispersion would be. Even though I'm trying to hit it dead straight, I'm averaging a little left with my 2 pulls. Okay, so let's see if we can, again, adjust, get comfortable, get my same routine. That one felt really solid. That was a really good shot. Traced right down the middle, right in the bullseye. Actually went a little farther than I usually do. And that was 143 yards total. And the last one. Okay, so again, I would consider myself a scratch golfer. So you can kind of see where a scratch golfer would be. Again, I'm not a tour player, but I'm not a 15 handicap. But you can see with my 5 shots, the size of my dispersion. It would kind of fall in between these two areas in terms of its natural size. You can see 3 of which were very straight, but my natural tendency would be off to the left. So if I take that information, I know that my average distance is 140 yards. So again, a couple yards farther than I thought, but I also had a couple pulls. So I like my 138 because that seemed very accurate for whenever I hit it straight. I only had the one that went farther than that. Okay, when I hit my distances, again, I want to look at really the average of total as well as the amount of dispersion left and right. So my average misses to the left, so that's good information for me to know when I go to the golf course. If I'm playing and I'm hitting a shot into the green from 140 or so yards, I would want to aim maybe a little right of the flag. Play for my natural miss. Now, that does not mean I aim off the green or I aim myself necessarily away from the flag severely. I want to keep my shot on the green if I was to hit a straight shot, but a little bit to the right. So my average dispersion here is no more than about 3 to 5 yards or so. And we can see that down at the very bottom, how many yards we are off. So I'm definitely inside of 10 yards. So let's just say it's 5. So at most, I would aim 15 feet to the right of the hole. And knowing that that would only leave me about a 15-foot putt from 140 yards, that's really darn good. That's inside of the tour level, right? So that would be a great shot. Okay, so this is, again, a start of the process. When we go through the proper routine, we have an acronym for you to follow. And we're going to break this down again in our next number of videos. We're going to go through the PPEE routine. And those letters stand for a proper plan. We need to make sure that we prepare ourselves, we execute our shot, and then we evaluate our shot. So every shot we have, whether it's a putt, a chip, a iron shot, and drive, we need to make sure we follow this acronym. We do our entire process, and we absorb all the information we can for a proper plan. We need to prepare ourselves to hit the shot, both mentally and physically, making sure that we are as prepared for the shot as possible. We need to then execute the shot. We need to execute the shot with confidence, commitment, as well as making sure we are comfortable over the golf ball. And then lastly, we need to evaluate. We need to evaluate not only the contact that we had, but also the feel of the ball, the shot, and how the ball comes off in the ball flight. We need to absorb that information and know how to then adjust and make little micro adjustments out on the golf course, because we can't be thinking about a million different swing changes as we play. So again, we need to go through the PPEE routine: plan, prepare, execute, evaluate. And again, we're going to break this down over the next 4 weeks. So stay with us. And again, like and subscribe our page so you can continue to follow us as we break down the proper routine to make sure you become more consistent every time you hit a golf shot.